Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Easter Sunday, April 4th, 2021. Happy Easter to all of you who do celebrate this day. All right, everybody, this is the story for this week, which begins tomorrow. But before we look there, we got to look back. Let's talk about what happened last Thursday, which was the last trading day of the week. Crude oil put on over 3.5%, a trend which I have been telling you for the longest time is going to continue. And the real story behind crude oil is this: the Federal Reserve is going to hide inflation in the rising cost of energy. This is what they're going to blame it on. It's no secret. There is inflation, regardless of the nonsense and the propaganda and the fake news. I mean, we all see it. But again, they're trying to convince us that what we are seeing is not real. So part of the mechanism here, people, mark my words and count on this happening, is they're going to hide inflation in energy. They're going to say, oh, look at energy. Look at crude oil. That's why we're getting inflation. Look, it's a game. This whole thing is a twisted game. And if you know how to play it, you're going to win, and you're going to win big. So with that said, looking back at what crude oil did Thursday, I believe crude oil is going much higher. Now, I think we're going to hit $70, over $70 a barrel relatively soon. I'm not saying this week, but the trend for crude oil is higher. Right there alone, you know how this works. Puts a boost to the entire energy sector and the entire financial sector. The financial sector, you know why. It's the investment banks with literally trillions of dollars in leveraged bets on crude oil going up. So, believe me, crude oil is going up. I also expect a false flag event to occur. I'm not saying this week either, but a false flag is going to occur that's going to boost crude oil. Again, why? They gotta hide inflation. They're going to do it. There's no doubt in my mind at all that this is what they're going to do moving forward. Next, the dollar. Okay, we've watched the dollar get pretty strong as of late. This trend of the dollar is not going to last. It's not going to last. I mean, what did we find out last week? Another mechanism is being put in place to devalue the dollar. That is, the government or you are giving the IMF $650 billion. Yeah, that's just the first installment. And you know, this kind of stuff, it flies under the radar, because if the American people realize that we're giving away tens, hundreds of billions of dollars, we're just creating it out of thin air, gift of the American people, to funnel around the world to the International Monetary Fund, other central banks, people would be up in arms, but they're not allowed to know it. You got to focus on COVID. COVID. You can't know what's really going on. That's what this whole thing is about. It's a distraction on an epic scale. So we got the prospect of crude going much higher. The dollar here, like I was alluding to, this trend of the dollar is going to turn. And when it does, in combination with crude oil going up, massively stock market positive. Now let's move forward here. The debt market. If you've noticed, the 10-year yield, which I tell you all the time to watch, and how can you watch it in real time? Right here on my website, traderschoice.net. It's just lovely. Top of the second page, you can follow the dollar index, and you can follow crude oil. Crucial, okay? And you can also follow the 10-year yield. So, let us move forward here. The 10-year yield, in my view, is going to remain stable. What does that mean? Stocks are going higher. What does this all equal to, people? Look, the distortions that exist in the economy and the stock market, I told you about this gap here since time immemorial, is going to keep getting wider. The economy is in free fall. There's no end in sight here. None. Zero. The pressure on the middle class is going to continue to get bigger. There's no doubt about it. The middle class is under attack. You're being erased. If you are a member of the middle class, you have a target tattooed to your face. And there's almost nothing you can do about it at this particular time. Corporations today are stronger than they've ever been. I want you to think about that. While small businesses, 70% now gone, they're not coming back. Great Depression levels of unemployment. Debts and deficits ballooning, hyper ballooning. Let me correct myself. Hyper ballooning. Trends which I also told you from, I don't know, a decade ago that will continue. It's not going to stop. The grand plan here is for the central banks, Federal Reserve, number one, to inflate on a scale that you cannot believe. What is that also going to do as a side effect? Boost the stock market. So what you're going to see here is a stock market hit record high, record high, record high, and record freaking high moving forward. I know a lot of people are waiting for this market to crash this month. It's not going to happen, okay? I don't understand. You see, look, what you're hearing from people who are putting out these kinds of things, they really don't understand the dynamics of the market. Moreover, or more importantly, they don't understand the end game. The end game is to hyper inflate the stock market way higher than it is right now, then to eventually pull that plug. You understand? The market will crater, and I mean crater. Like, I don't think you have any idea. But again, where's this all going to start? Stop focusing on the stock market and you will know where the market's going to go. You can't look at the stock market as an independent element without factoring in the 10-year yield or the debt market in aggregate, the dollar, and crude oil. And then sit back further and say, okay, what are central banks trying to achieve? What do they want to achieve? What is the end game here? This corporate agenda, this new world order, what do they want to do? By understanding this whole setup, you have a clear understanding of what you should be doing to take advantage of it. Because we're not going to lose. How many times have I told you this? Repeatedly, over and over and over. We know the plan. We have it. It's an open book to you and me. So we're just literally reading what they're going to do. This is how we're able to stay ahead of it. Over and over and over again. It will never stop because we know the game plan. The game plan for the central banks is to inflate. Via this mechanism here, the higher the Federal Reserve's balance sheet goes, the higher the stock market is going to go. And if you think the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, which anyone can see, okay, just go to the Federal Reserve website and go Federal Reserve balance sheet, you know, put it in the search there. The higher that goes, the higher the stock market's going to go with it. You understand? I don't think people get that, all right? But that's the end game here, is to inflate on an epic scale to eventually allow this whole thing to crater. Because this is just a wealth transfer mechanism. That's all it is. And we've been watching this go on now for over an entire decade. The middle class being destroyed, the middle class being wiped out, the middle class being robbed blind of trillions of dollars in realized gains via suppressed rates. And suppressed rates are not going to stop. They're not going to stop. You can expect this mechanism to continue. Moreover, it's going to get worse. The Federal Reserve is looking for every opportunity now to issue yield curve control to do more in the debt market. Okay, why do you think the Federal Reserve has rigged the federal funds rate? Since 2008, so they can gain control. It's all about control. The Fed is going to get more control. Believe me, the Federal Reserve is the government. Okay, the real representatives of the government are Federal Reserve presidents. Okay, it's not the shit show that they put before you with Dodo Bird Biden and then the rest of the imbeciles that are supposed to be our representatives. They have no bearing on reality. They don't matter. They could go away and the government would still function. Okay, because the government is the central banks. The government is the Federal Reserve. That's the real government. It's the shadow government. You understand? I think you do. And this whole market is being driven by them. The economic collapse is engineered by them, allowing them to inflate. That's what their end game is. That's what their goal is. That's what the scamdemic is all about. Kill the global economy so they can shut off the money velocity so they can inflate. I've outlined this for you since the get-go, okay? And it's all gone exactly the way I said it would go. And it's going to continue to go exactly the way I'm telling you it's going to go right here in this video. What does this mean for you? You know what to do. I will keep you ahead of the curve like you have no idea. More so than anybody else I can possibly imagine, because I got their playbook. People, I got their playbook. Okay, let me just be blunt. I have their playbook, and I'm just sharing it with all of you. That gives us enormous power. Enormous power. All right, people, with that said, I'm going to end this video. I think it's been critical. I think it's been very important. Please share this on all your social networks. Please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And a huge thank you to all of you who have supported my work. And I'm going to leave you off with another happy Easter to all of you out here. All right, that's it, people. I'm out of here. I will see you in the morning. Love you a lot.